Yes, yes. Coffee Conversations with Greg J is on. What's going on, y'all? Greg J here. It's where we have casual but culturally relevant conversations about a variety of topics. You know, we've been on this election trail. We don't really propose ourselves to be a political channel platform. But we do ask questions, right? Because we want to present the information and inspire you to exercise your right to vote where we can. We try to get, you know, pundit less, uh, information on what's going on today. And the hot story these days in Black America is the National Association of Black Journalists invited Donald Trump to speak at their conference out there in Chicago. I joined the millions. I was a little upset at first, and then man, I went out and ran a few errands on today and got back in the car, headed back to Long Beach on the freeway, turned on the radio, and I hear the excerpts. Rachel Scott going for the jugular immediately, not even saying hello, welcome to our conference, just went right to it. And, the conversation nowadays is, man, should she have done that or not? I'm still on the page of, wait, what? The NABJ invited Trump? What? What does that look like? So, what I do, of course, is reach into my Rolodex, try to see where my friends are. We have friends in high places. Renowned news journalist, Hall of Famer, used to be on Channel 4 for many generations. Now, like me, out here enjoying these retired lives, but still, active, still making a difference, still informing and inspiring our community. Ladies and gentlemen, Beverly White is with us live from Chicago. If I could click her on, there she is. Beverly, how are you today?
I'm doing great, Greg. Thank you for including me in this important conversation. I'm very honored.
Yes, yes. Beverly, I know you to be very active with the NABJ all of these years. And
True.
so share with us, why did the NA National Association of Black Journalists invite Donald Trump to their annual gathering?
Well, for context, I am retired now, so I can speak more freely about certain things than ever before. And I'm still an active member of NABJ in retirement, where I've been coming to these conventions since, frankly, the mid 1980s. Every
Wow.
4 years, without fail, we invite presidential candidates. And yes, the invitation went out from the leadership. I'm not in leadership, I'm a general member. And the leaders alerted us to the fact that, of course, they reached out, this being election season, and we now know who the GOP candidate is, the presumptive Democratic candidate. Changed in recent days, but now we know. So
Mm.
Mr. Trump and Ms. Harris were invited to this convention. He happened to respond first, and he came in person. We're still waiting to
Wow.
hear back from Ms. Harris, possibly virtual before the conference ends on Sunday.
Oh, I see. Okay, okay. I'm sure she'll make that one because she's making the round. She's coming in hot ever since the announcement. Very much. All right. So I heard some excerpts from Rachel Scott there, and there's folks that are the pundits are on the radio even as we speak now, just saying, okay, she should not have come so hard for him. I disagree actually, but you were there, you were on the floor, you were in the audience. Tell us how the discussion went.
Well, it was a raucous discussion, and if you tuned in on the cable outlets or the radio, you're aware of the fact that it started late. There were allegedly some technical difficulties. That's Mr. Trump's version. According to my sources inside NABJ, there were issues with his team and his acceptance of real time fact checking. PolitiFact, an organization attached to the Poynter Institute based in Florida, a nonprofit journalism think tank, they were, I don't know if paid or volunteered their services, but they do political fact checking in real time for many major outlets. NABJ enlisted their services, and Mr. Trump had a problem with that. Anyone who's ever followed the man knows he has a loose affiliation with the facts. And he didn't
Yeah.
want fact checking in real time. It took place online as a person in the audience and not on my phone. I didn't follow the fact checking, but I'm well aware of the line of questioning. I was there from door to door. We waited 90 minutes to enter the space. It's a ballroom in a hotel. and I don't know, 1,000, 1,500 people were perhaps in the room. I never heard the head count, but all of us had to have our bags checked, as you would anytime you enter a room with Secret Service involvement. And now more than ever, they're on the case, checking every item. And we stood online for a while for that to happen. So what should have started at noon started shortly after 1 p.m. And it went on for the better part of an hour. And you're right, the leadoff question did not include an introduction or a welcome. Rachel Scott dove right in with a greatest hits, frankly, of the insulting things Mr. Trump has said to and about the Black community. And he took offense. So she came in hot, he came in hotter.
Yeah, yeah. He was angry because they started late. He was he also said that he was the best president for Black people since Abraham Lincoln.
Yes, we've heard that before. Like I
Yeah.
said, Trump's greatest hits.
Wow. So now, okay, as an OG in the game, as we say, and you're there. What should the young journalists who are there, first time in such a heavy, contentious atmosphere, what should they take away from today's exchange?
That contentious atmospheres can happen anywhere, at any time, with any level of subject matter. Just
Mhm.
because he is a former president, a former leader of the free world who wants the job again, come November, he may in fact regain that job description. But he's likely to be subject to harsh questioning throughout this process. It's been a while since he's taken a Q&A in
Mhm.
this fashion. We've seen him, as we like to say, speechifying outside the courthouse in New York. We've seen him on the campaign trail at rallies as recently as the community in Pennsylvania where the attempted assassination took place. There were thousands of people present in an open air space to hear him freestyle, and that's his specialty. But
Mhm.
a Q&A with professional journalists on the dais with him and hundreds more in the audience, I can't think of a single time where that's ever happened, because even in the
Mhm.
White House press room, you have dozens of journalists, not hundreds. So the
Mhm.
takeaway for up and coming journalists, not to mention the veterans, many of whom went on social media to complain about him being indicted in the first place, to me,
Mhm.
it was a righteous invitation because it pertained to both parties in this election season, as we always do in 4 year cycles. The takeaway is keep your questions tight and brace for the bluster because
Mhm.
he delivered. Some people walked away, I overheard this from more than one person, that they felt slimed, they were offended that he was even invited, they were bothered before and after the fact. But the fact is, he's a newsmaker, and we are
Mhm.
journalists. And talking to people like this, for better or worse, good or bad, that's what we do. And I hope the youngsters in the room, because there are college students who come to these conferences, and there are, like you like to say, the OGs who come just for refresher courses to be reminded of the importance of what we do and how people who have a public service agenda have an obligation to talk to us so we can put the truth out there for readers, viewers, folks online who may never have the chance to do what we did today, be in the same space with a former president who, like I said, wants that job yet again. How will he earn it? To whom is he addressing his messages, his policies, his truths or half truths or absolute misrepresentations? We're the messengers. I'm now retired, but I still have a social presence
That's
on
right.
a few platforms. And others who were there, opinion writers, daily journalists, columnists, print, broadcast, digital, they were all represented today. And because this is NABJ, I'm proud to say we're more than almost 4,000 strong in all of those spaces, putting out the truth as we
That's really,
receive
really
it.
awesome because,
And it's an organization, I think we got traction as a result of this event. Not the reason
yeah,
he was invited, but I hope people remember NABJ in the future because we've been
for
around
sure.
for
Because I'm
decades.
I'm pretty sure there's people who didn't even know that the organization existed, right? And
Right.
then it's outlived many other organizations in terms of vitality. I mean, if you look at National Association of Black-owned Broadcasters, they're still around, but just barely, right? Because there's
Right.
not that many Black-owned media outlets anymore. But NABJ is still standing strong and still standing in the customs and traditions that it has always been about, and it's a learning circle for journalists, for people in the media business. Now, today's excitement. What was your most I would like to ask you what is the most appalling thing that you heard today? And then I did hear some claps though in the audience, I thought. So what are some of the things where you said, okay, he has a point?
Journalists don't clap. The applause you heard came from people in the room rocking their Trump gear. Apparently,
Ah,
his team was blessed with tickets, and they
okay.
invited, I guess, some local folks who ascribed to the MAGA mission. I saw them online as we waited to go through security. I counted no more than a dozen. So, in
Yeah.
a room of hundreds, over 1,000, you might have heard clapping in the distance, but they stayed in the back. They tried
Okay.
to make some noise, and they were booed down and shushed by the real journalists in the room who came to listen and learn and not take sides. That's where we
Mm,
stand,
mm,
firmly in the objective space,
yeah.
because no matter what you think about his policies or Miss Harris's policies, we're not here to endorse. An invitation is not an endorsement. I can't stress that enough. So the
Right.
applause you heard came from the non-journalists in the room or from the youngsters who I'm sure got snatched and told, you don't do that. We don't
Right.
do that.
That's
We
right.
don't take sides.
Wow. Wow. So what was the most shocking thing that you heard him say? I mean, you're probably used to him now, but was there anything today that made you say, dang?
Well, his greatest hits, the post-birth abortion, immigrants taking black jobs, those things are takeaway lines we've heard before. What shocked me when
Sure.
time came to discuss his vice presidential partner, Mr. Vance, he actually said vice presidents don't matter much. I said, well, wait a minute. You tell us this man's important and relevant, and yet you're claiming the job description is just, a shadow, an irrelevant
Wow.
entity that in fact, he said when people vote for president, they vote for the president. The vice president is not really
Wow.
in the equation. They're voting for me, and you vote for me, I win in November, and then we all win. Something along those lines.
Wow.
He also discussed Miss Harris in really disparaging terms, starting with, which we all know is one of his greatest hits, the racial tip. He actually said, and I believe I tweeted, is she Indian or is she black? Like, where are
Mm.
you going with
Wow.
this? Because he said in
Wow.
his memory, she started out as Indian and then she shifted to black. Like it's a decision or a choice. She's always been black to my knowledge, and being based in California for a very long time, I clearly recall Kamala Harris at Taste of Soul when she
Yes.
was the AG and then the
Yes.
DA, I'm sorry, DA first, AG, state senator, U.S. senator, and now
Yeah.
obviously the vice president. She lives in
Yeah.
Brentwood. She's a
Yeah.
California sister. And
Yeah.
I've never heard anybody doubt her checking the black box. Of course, she doesn't deny her Indian heritage. Nobody would or should. Mr. Obama made it plain as well. He had a white mother, a black father, but in America, you get defined by this. America
Yes.
defined him as black. She defines herself as black. But Mr. Trump made it sound transactional. Like, well, maybe today she is, but last year she wasn't. And that
Wow.
shocked me. I've never heard those words come from his mouth before, as if that's a policy matter that's worthy of debate.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I tell you one thing though, that JD Vance is about to get a full on lesson as the. Well, I watched the Republican convention as much as I could stomach, at least. And when he got up there to speak, when they introduced him and he brought his wife up, and they were, panning the audience, and boy, white folks' faces weren't too pleased when they saw his wife. Now, so
Right.
he's
You
about to
saw
get a
what I
big lesson.
saw. That's right. When Usha Vance took the stage and she made her passionate endorsement of her husband, the father of their children,
Uh-huh.
and they pan the audience and they're holding up the mass deportations now signs in
Yeah.
mass. Like she has no right to be here. She's from San Diego. What are y'all
Right.
talking about?
Right.
So I
Right.
saw what you saw, Greg. And
Yeah.
although they didn't go deep into the questions about JD Vance, Mr. Trump did make it sound like he's an appendage, but not necessary for the success of this administration. Question I was waiting on the panelists to ask, and they didn't, had to do with, well, what's up with Mike Pence? Why do you need a replacement vice president?
Mm,
Oh, that's right. Your supporters wanted to hang the man. Let's talk
yeah.
about that. And that never came up.
Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Oh, wow. Isn't that something? Okay, so now, uh, so so you're 2 hours ahead of us. So I guess there's other activities and everything happening at the convention, normal convention. There's a certain energy. Do you think today's episode changed the energy at all? Is there going to do we need a recovery? Look, do we need a drink right now?
You act like we haven't had one. because I'm on a different timeline than you. And again, I'm retired and I'm not driving today. So I
Okay,
can tell you, yes, I already had a drink. And there probably will be more this evening with my
sure.
friends and my peers, because many people will say this. It's not original. NABJ is like a family reunion.
That's right.
A lot of us have worked together, competed for jobs, celebrated each other's successes. All levels of journalists are here. I mean, we
Yeah,
even have high school students
yeah,
taking on journalism as a hobby, and we're hoping to guide them through the ropes. So if they choose to take it on in college and thereafter, they'll be better prepared than we were when we started.
sure.
So, yes, there's a lot going on. A lot of palate cleansers will take place tonight. We have an
Yeah,
opening ceremony happening very soon, which is why I'll be breaking away to join a
right.
party in progress, because it's protocol. We always have a gathering on the first official night of the convention where
Mhm,
everybody's under one roof and we
mhm.
celebrate being in the same space yet again. Down the road, I think in a few more days, when we have our awards events, there will be kind of like the Oscars, in memoriam for those who passed since the last time we were together. This is a very serious organization, but
Okay.
we work hard and we play hard. So, to
Yeah,
answer your question, lots of workshops are forthcoming. Some were compressed, pushed down the timeline, or will be double dipping tomorrow on top of the ones that were already scheduled, because Mr. Trump's gathering took out a big chunk of the day.
yeah,
And when you got in the room, you couldn't leave,
yeah,
and the room was packed.
yeah. So Vice President Harris, we don't know if she's coming yet, or she, because I'm
I
hearing
haven't
two,
I haven't
two
checked
that
the
like,
alerts. Yeah, they may be
okay,
virtual,
okay,
but Sister has her own jet. We would
that's
love
right,
to see her in person,
that's
but
right,
if she can't, fire up Air Force Two, because she has a lot going on, and I know you know this, she's got a shorter runway than your average presidential contender. Where Mr. Trump's been on the trail for 2 years, 3 years, running for this job, she just
yes,
got the nod 2 weeks ago. She's making
yeah,
up for lost time as best she can, and we were not an agenda item for her because she wasn't an agenda item for us. So now
hmm,
we're hoping for a meeting of the minds. Virtual would be great, in person would be better. But if it doesn't happen at all, I think there's some grace to be given because we invited them in the same time frame. He said
hmm,
yes. She couldn't pull it off or has yet to do so.
hmm,
Again, we're here till Sunday morning, so anything is possible. I mean, we heard from Obama, for instance, years ago
sure,
when he was on the campaign trail, and he popped in on a Sunday.
sure,
NABJ made it work.
nice.
So we'll see.
Okay. All right. All right. Beverly, share with us the what you think the importance of Black media is. I really think right now we're in a critical juncture. We hear all of these news sources and everything, but we certainly want news that is relevant for us. And I'm wondering, I'm actually find myself wondering, is Black media falling behind, or do we need to encourage this new generation to support Black media even the more, or how important is Black media, especially in such a time as this?
Always important. I
Hmm.
mean, we at ABJ, we know we're standing on the shoulders of Ida B. Wells and Frederick Douglass and John Johnson, and because he's still with us, thank God, Danny Bakewell, senior and junior. I mean,
Sure.
Natalie Cole in Our Weekly. I remember how important Black press, Black media was in Southern California, but we also know the industry is compressing. And that's
Yeah.
not just Black folks, it's the industry in general. And,
Yeah.
society catches a cold, Black folks catch pneumonia. So we
Yeah.
are feeling it deeper and we're losing more of our outlets. So, sure, we can encourage the youngsters to consider these opportunities, but those opportunities are fewer and farther between. I grew
Sure.
up in Central Texas where we didn't even have a Black newspaper. So, when you're blessed enough to be in a market here in Chicago, home of the Defender and Ebony right around the corner,
That's right.
they've got it baked in here. The relevance, the soul stirring, specific nature of Black media cannot be denied. But if you've never seen it or you don't have the wherewithal, because it's a struggle to even get into this business, to sustain yourself, paychecks aren't what they used to be or may never will be enough to really live on. I do know folks in Southern California trying to make it work with a couple of roommates
Yeah.
because the pay isn't there.
Yeah.
And if there's other opportunities in corporate media,
Yeah.
being a publicist, forgive me, um, there are other places to take that skill set. So you're right, Black media matters. There's just fewer places Spread your wings and be a part of that fantastic tradition. We also believe, as I've worked in mainstream media, we got to be everywhere because our folks are watching, listening, collating their news from all
That's
these sources. And we need to be in those spaces, not just in the streets with the wildfires, but
right.
in the editorial meetings, on the masthead. I'm proud to say, a short time ago today, post Trump, I ran into Angel Jennings, the highest ranking Black woman at the LA Times.
Yes,
She's
yes.
here. And again,
Yeah.
that's why we come to reach out and touch the folks we know are inspiring to us and others, and just to let them know we see you, we appreciate you. So, wherever a Black journalist with a conscience is out there fighting the good fight, I will do my best to support. And I know my organization, NABJ, the oldest and largest minority journalism organization in the nation, will back your play as best we can.
Nice. I love it. 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 I want. I want to let you go here so you can get back to your activities and whatnot there. But I just want to see what is your just parting shot for today. At the end of the day, you reflect on what you have seen and heard. What's your parting shot?
Everybody within the sound of my voice and beyond of age, vote. Make an informed vote, but vote. Our ancestors, we know this, bled and died. My own, forgive me, maternal grandfather in, he likes to say, they like to say, LA, Lower Alabama,
Yeah.
paid a poll tax,
Mm.
$2 every time he went to the polls. When they
Wow.
let Black men vote, sister still couldn't, but he had to pay for the privilege. It's not a privilege, it's a right. And we need
That's
to
right.
exercise that right and encourage everybody of age, college kids, dropouts, homeless, hopeless, whoever you are. The vote matters. It matters. And we see the proof when outrageous policies are baked in and become law. It doesn't happen in a vacuum. School boards, city councils, public utility commissions, any space where a vote puts a person in office or takes them out, we need to be in that conversation. And
Mm.
today was just another reminder that Black voices matter, Black journalists matter, because we built this country for free. If
Mm.
anybody has skin in the game, we do. And that's how you act on it in modern times.
All
That's
right,
it. That's my
Carmen.
message. Yeah.
Yes, yes, yes. Thank you so much for that. Beverly White, y'all. Look, when you saw her on Channel 4 in Los Angeles, it's going down now. Let me listen to Beverly, see what's going on, and now she's out there sipping pina coladas in retirement life. Life is good.
Yeah, but pina coladas are not my drink of choice. I'm just saying, if you want to send a sister a beverage, that wouldn't be my preferred, but we can talk about that offline. Thank you, Greg.
Yes, yes, nice.
God bless you and
All right.
everybody tuned in. It means a lot to
Yes,
be here.
thank you. Thank you so much, Beverly. Thank you, thank you, thank you. This is Coffee Conversations with Greg J on our Facebook page, Coffee Conversations with Greg J, on our Instagram, on our website, Beach City Radio, beachcityradio.com. We also repurpose the audio for our podcast, wherever you get your favorite podcast. That's where it's at, beachcityradio.com. Coffee Conversations with Greg J. Love one another, y'all. Love one another. Love one another. A lot going on out there, huh? Peace and blessings.